Hi, I'm Massimo Gauthier. After completing my degree in independent video game design with excellent grades, I spent the last month and a half being ignored by every game studio I've applied to. As such, I've decided to jumpstart my own game project out of sheer entrepreneurial spirit. This is my attempt at documenting that process, because I might as well try and get something entertaining out of this. Hi, I'm Massimo Gauthier, and I'm here to make video game. Let's get started, shall we?
That's right, baby. Today we're gonna start making the JRPG of our dreams. My dreams. Now, every game concept starts with an idea, and lucky for you guys, I've had one festering up in here for, years. But before we start, you're probably wondering, Massimo, why should I care? Why should I give a crap? I mean, you're telling me to get emotionally invested in the 100th YouTuber making video games on the internet.
And to that I say,
we're doing it, man. We're going all the way to the top. I'm not like those other game developers. I'm gonna finish this shit. I'm gonna make 1 million copies on Steam. Me and you forever, man. It's just me and you. Come on, let's do it, man. Let's do it.
and besides, I've got credentials. I mean, I'm a pretty good coder, pretty good designer, pretty good writer, not good artist, garbage musician, but I own like 3 keyboards, so you know, that. Now that all that's out of the way, where do we even begin? Well, if you were paying attention earlier, which you definitely weren't, you'll know that we're trying to make a JRPG. Now, the 3 core mechanical aspects of most RPGs are combat, exploration, and character building. Now, in terms of main appeal, there's also narrative, sound, and art to consider. And I do have a pretty good idea for the narrative, man. I mean, not to stroke off my own horn, but I'm like the Senator Barack Obama of game writing. I'm going all the way to the top, baby. But let's table all that for now, because usually it helps to have a solid mechanical foundation to start from, or else you might end up with a bad game. And you know, nobody wants a bad game, man. Now, out of the 3 core elements I described earlier, combat, exploration, and character building, the exploration part in my head would be more to serve the narrative, would be less of a core appeal, and the character building would also be mostly just tied to the combat. So we're going to focus entirely on making a great combat system. Something that I could take on its own, slap on a few roguelike mechanics, call it Tower of Dingus, and just sell 1,000 copies on Steam, you know, easy peasy. Peasy, right? It's gotta be good enough to stand alone. That's the goal. So, combat system. We're looking to make something accessible, fun, and most importantly, original, because if I didn't care about originality, I'd still be trying to get a job at... I'm just kidding. Please hire me. This better pan out. So, combat system. Basically, this wasn't where the idea originally came from, but I found it was a good way to explain it, and I'm gonna be taking inspiration from them going on anyway. So, a really basic way to explain what I'm trying to do with this combat system is take fighting game mechanics and put them in a tactical RPG setting. So anyone who plays fighting games at a high enough level will know that there's a lot to consider, right? There's whether your opponent's gonna attack, dodge, or guard, neutral, playing aggressively, playing defensively, punishing, combos, positioning, etc., etc., etc. Now, all of this is starting to sound pretty tactical, right? But now you're probably wondering, Massimo, all that stuff is only fun because fighting games are fast-paced. They're action-packed. They got all this stuff going on. If you slowed that down to a tactical game pace, it would ruin all the fun. You might be right, if I kept it at 1v1. Because you see, most fighting games, they're either like 1v1, maybe 2v2, but I'm planning more on having stuff like 4v4s and then mixing that in with tactical RPG tropes like status effects, elemental damage, resource management, all that jazz, like character classes, etc., etc., etc. And that added complexity will add enough challenge to make the game interesting again. So now, I'm sure you have a very good idea where I'm coming from. No, you don't. Allow me to elaborate. So the main relatively unique aspect of this combat system, where all the other mechanics will stem from, is how it deals with time and turn order. Now, many tactical games can be broadly generalized into one of 2 categories. Either they'll be very turn-based, your characters take their actions, the enemy takes their actions, rinse and repeat, or they'll be like an RTS, where everybody's acting at the same time in real time. Most good games will play around with these formulas, allowing for characters to act out of order, pausing, ability points, etc. With my combat system, I'm trying to emulate aspects of a real-time action genre, but instead of building a real-time game where you can just pause, or trying to fit fighting game mechanics into a turn-based system, I'm going to split the action up into semi-granular timed chunks. Every player character and enemy acts at the same time, on a timeline made out of discrete time chunks. The player chooses when to advance to the next chunk. Whenever a character takes an action, it'll have a startup time, active time, and cooldown time, during which the character will not be able to receive further instructions. Crucially, you'll often be able to see an attack coming before it actually lands, but you'll have a very limited window to respond. The goal with this system, as with many good game systems, is to produce interesting choices. Here's an example. If your fighter is surrounded and in danger of being hit, do you leave your mage available so she can interrupt enemy attacks, or do you risk it and charge up a stronger attack? As another example, should you dodge an incoming attack, avoiding it but leaving yourself open to different enemy? Or should you try blocking it, taking damage but keeping more of your options available? So yeah, man, that's our basic design figured out. Now I just gotta spend some time prototyping, see what I can birth. It shouldn't be that hard.